In a galaxy teeming with countless species, civilizations, and unimaginable threats, there was one constant danger. The Alliance of Galaxies, a coalition of the most powerful and ancient species, had stood for millennia, maintaining peace and balance across the stars. But they weren't invincible. Even the combined forces of the Xelrath, the enigmatic Drakari, and the mighty Elandorians had limits. And that's why, when a threat unlike any before emerged, they had no choice but to turn to the one species they had long ignored, humans. It started with a signal, a simple message that arrived in the council chambers of the Alliance, transmitted in a frequency they could not decode. When it was finally deciphered, the words sent chills down every spine in the room. We are the Cormer. You have 3 cycles to evacuate or face extinction. The Cormer were a species unknown to any of the Alliance members. No records of them existed, not even in the oldest, most forbidden archives. But what was even more terrifying than their mysterious origins was the force they wielded. In the following days, the Alliance's most formidable fleets were obliterated without a single shot being fired. Entire star systems, once vibrant with life, were reduced to burning ashes in the blink of an eye. The Cormer were devastating, relentless, merciless, and efficient. It didn't take long for the Alliance to recognize that they were utterly powerless against this new foe. The combined might of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations was insufficient. Desperation settled in as entire species began to consider abandoning their homeworlds, hoping to flee to distant galaxies. But that wasn't a solution. It was simply an escape. Then, in a final desperate measure, the Alliance's leaders convened. There was only one hope left: the humans. The humans were an anomaly. A young species, short-lived and fragile in comparison to the ancient beings of the Alliance. They had no advanced technology, no hyper-intelligence, and no reason to be seen as anything other than primitive. But they possessed something that no other species had: resilience. Humans had survived their own planet's many challenges, fought off extinction, and reached for the stars when no one believed they could. They were stubborn, fierce, and above all determined. A delegation was sent to Earth. A fleet of warships, covered in the banners of every known civilization, landed in the heart of the United Nations. The humans, still reeling from their own chaotic wars and ecological disasters, greeted them with both fear and awe. The message was simple: humanity's greatest gamble had arrived. The Cormer were coming. No one else could stand against them. But perhaps, just perhaps, the humans could. It wasn't a decision made lightly. The leaders of Earth from every corner of the globe were skeptical. How could their small, fractured species be the key to stopping the Cormer? But the Alliance, in its infinite wisdom, had explained the human condition, how they had survived wars, plagues, and environmental collapse. They had adapted. They had built alliances in the face of overwhelming odds. Humanity's capacity for innovation, sheer will, and unity in the face of extinction was unparalleled. And so, Earth's best and brightest were summoned. The best scientists, engineers, tacticians, and soldiers were brought together in one unified force. The humans were given the Alliance's most advanced weaponry, their greatest technologies, and trained in the ways of the galactic military. The Cormer, the Alliance said, were unstoppable. They had one glaring weakness: arrogance. They believed no species could challenge them. They underestimated the power of human ingenuity and sheer force of will. A stage was set for humanity's most incredible battle. The Cormer, having arrived in the outer reaches of the galaxy, prepared to unleash their final wave of destruction. Their fleet, an ominous dark mass that stretched for light years, approached the Alliance's capital planet, ready to lay waste to the heart of galactic civilization. But as they neared, the Cormer felt something: a disturbance, an anomaly. They had seen the human ships, tiny in comparison to their own, but something felt wrong. The humans had no right to challenge them, no right to even be here. Yet there they were, locked in formation, their ships humming with strange energy. The Cormer dispatched a battalion of their elite warriors to engage them, thinking they would easily crush the humans underfoot. They were wrong. The first human ship to engage the Cormer was the Defender. Unlike anything the Cormer had ever seen, The ship emitted pulses of energy that tore through their massive warships with ease. The human technology was different, ruthless, and raw. The human strategy was even more so. They didn't fight like the Alliance did. They didn't rely on overwhelming force or superior numbers. Instead, they struck at the heart, exploiting every weakness, every flaw, every inconsistency in Nakormor's arrogance. At the same time, the human ground forces landed on Kormer's homeworld. The Kormer, thinking the humans would struggle in their hostile environment, were horrified to see the humans adapt in ways they had never anticipated. They used every weapon at their disposal, ranging from energy shields to small but deadly tactical strikes. But it wasn't just the technology. It was the human spirit, the way they fought not just for survival, but for the survival of all life across the galaxy. In mere weeks, the humans had turned the tide of war. The Kormer, once feared and unstoppable, were now on the defensive, reeling from unexpected losses. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. When the battle was over, the Alliance stood in awe. The Kormer were defeated, their forces shattered, their technology rendered useless. They had never expected the humans to rise to such heights, to be the force that saved the galaxy from annihilation. The Alliance, in all its power, had been unable to do what the humans had done in a fraction of the time. The humans stood victorious, not just because of their technology, but because they had something the other species lacked, the will to keep fighting, no matter the cost. As the dust settled and the galaxy began to rebuild, the once dismissed humans now stood as the galaxy's new hope. And from that day forward, no one would ever again underestimate the power of the human spirit. Because when it came to fighting for survival, humanity didn't just survive, they thrived.